Sub-zero. Not a lot's going to change. Yes, there'll be a few snowflakes flying around, as you can see behind me, but we are going to keep the cold even when the snow is not here. All right, temperatures in the single digits and teens. The wind chill is going to be 0 or below. You don't need a lot of wind when it's this cold to drive down that feels like temperature. So what's going on? Well, we do have this little system, but there's another round of reinforcing Arctic air behind this. So we're just not catching a break at all with the cold air up here across the northern plains, the upper Midwest. We also get the snowfall out of it in Chicago. It's south of you where we see some light snow coming down right across north central parts of Illinois into northern Indiana. Here's a look right now at Fort Wayne. It is 6 and it is snowing, not heavily. This is all very light, actually. This is sort of very typical of these Arctic fronts. They bring some snow showers. They seem not very productive, right? That's what we got going on. But there are some winter alerts. We do have, with this next system, some winter weather advisories here through early afternoon across southern Kansas into Oklahoma and into Missouri as well. And we're expecting a stripe of snow through tomorrow night from the southern plains all the way back through the Ohio Valley. Cincinnati, we could get a little bit of snow, and I think especially north of the Ohio River, got that chance of getting a little bit of accumulation. Quickly timing it out for you, we'll be watching these snowflakes fly around Kansas City, St. Louis, right through the afternoon, evening, overnight, Indy to Columbus. All right, Grafton, Massachusetts saw some big snow totals from Winter Storm Quade. 6.7 inches came down for you on Sunday, but don't put away the shovels just yet. We've got more snow on the way. Yeah, this is what a turnaround, right? What a turnaround to winter here where it's been one after another, really adding up. Some of the biggest totals that we saw actually across, I would say, the southern Boston suburbs, like that 9.5 around Jamaica Plain. We're going to add more. Another 1 to 3 coming in with this next little system coming in. Again, it's not a huge weather maker, but it's enough to give us a couple of inches of new snowfall. So let's time it out. We'll keep it on the move. Remember, I said Cincinnati overnight tonight. Tomorrow morning, all of the snow is heading into the northeast. We've got Buffalo and Pittsburgh and Scranton, Wilkes-Barre. We've got New York City. It'll be snowing tomorrow morning when you decide if you're going to work or not. You have to scrape off that windshield. But you notice there is a rain-snow line, and we'll be looking at the rain in places like Philadelphia, New York City. On the snowy side of things to the north, to the south, it will be rain. So watching that closely for you throughout the day on Tuesday. All right, so let's give you some totals. In the metro areas, Pittsburgh, we've got about 2 or 3 inches of snow coming our way. Cold enough that it's going to be a travel issue on the roads, right? So be ready for that throughout the day on Tuesday. In New York City, watching how this plays out. We see the snow come in. It's snowing in the morning, but then about lunchtime, we start to deal with that rain-snow line here and that changeover. So we could see some rain mixing in. More likely east here on Long Island and south, too, as you make your way down south into Jersey. Now, Quade wasn't a showstopper for Northeast airports, but there were significant delays and cancellations, particularly at Newark, Liberty, JFK, and BWI in Baltimore. Now, all told, FlightAware shows that well over 2,000 delays and cancellations at U.S. airports on Sunday. Not a lot of people have been, traveling compared to, years past, but still, the airports are busy. The planes are booked.
You know what's interesting is when I was coming back from Chicago, I thought, oh, there won't be any delays because there's so many fewer planes.
But there's fewer seats.
They were, right, but I mean, we were still delayed an hour, even though there's fewer planes because of the weather.
Still the de-ice, all of it.
Exactly, they had to de-ice. Well, much of the country is numb with cold and Arctic air, while the deep south, we are just proud.
Yeah. Now, I shared with my kids we were watching last night there, with the female lead to that formation, and they said they got the chills, right? So definitely that was pretty cool. Now, in the skies this morning, it's a couple of showers, actually a thunderstorm south of Fort Lauderdale. Whew. All right, all of a sudden, the season's changed. Weren't we just shivering last week in Miami? Not today. I mean, this morning, we've got temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. It was really warm yesterday, actually, morning. I think we set a record warm low in Miami. And today, it's going to be another warm and humid one. It may rain, especially north of the area. You've got a couple of showers, inland areas. I think you could get that. Look at our temperatures. This afternoon, we're in the 80s. We're still this evening in the upper 70s. Same thing here as you leave the Tampa area this morning. We've got dry conditions, kind of humid. Temperatures top out in the mid to upper 70s. All right, but not all the weather is this pleasant, if you will.
That's a good way of putting it. It's very unpleasant. I mean, it's the whole other side of the spectrum here. 119 million Americans getting a rude wake-up call this morning as they start the week, bundling up against temperatures below 20.
Actually going to be well below 0 with that wind chill, and that's really all that matters.
Very misleading, sunshine. Very misleading. Do not trust it. Actually, I'm going to show you your weekend forecast here and let you know what you can expect as we get into the week ahead, into next weekend. All right, so we start with today. Yes, we've got cold. We also have a little system scooting through the Midwest. So you flip it down to the south, and we've got a lot of warmth actually this week. Temperatures above average there. It's to the north we have the cold and the track of our snow. Downpours could be heavy at times. So just stay weather aware. I mean, this was the scene over the weekend. Things that have not really changed much actually out there today in terms of the atmosphere. What we don't have is all the energy we had this weekend in the atmosphere, but we do have that chance for thunderstorms. You are waking up to it right now just south of Fort Lauderdale, actually in South Florida. So what's happening the rest of the week? Well, we keep these higher dew points. Temperatures going to be in the 60s. There's going to be moisture. We have a front that's in place, another disturbance rolling along it, a surface low, all of it, right, keeping us with this pretty unsettled pattern, if not stormy pattern, actually right across the Gulf Coast. So it's going to be really warm out ahead of this front. We've got 80s today across Central and South Florida, and that's how we stay this week. It's going to be warm. It's going to be humid, actually, too. Along the front and to the north, it'll be cooler, but we'll also see that moisture rebounding back all across this area, returning to that area. So we track it all for you all week long. I mean, look at your forecast Monday to Tuesday. Anywhere there's green, there's a bit more moisture in the atmosphere. We see that pushing back right here across the Gulf Coast by the end of the week into the weekend. We see it pushing back into South Georgia, back into Florida with showers and even thunderstorm chances. Tonight even, don't be surprised if you get a rumble of thunder out there in New Orleans or in Mobile or in Pensacola or Tallahassee. The same thing could happen again tomorrow as well. Not expecting any kind of widespread severe, but rumbles of thunder, yes. Maybe if you punchy thunderstorms, something you always have to watch out for. Thursday's forecast, I mean, it's a wet, active week, right? We see the moisture returning north. The thing that changes by the end of the week, we do see some of that cooler air sinking a little further south. So you watch the northern edge of this precip shield for any kind of wintry precip, like, up there in North and Carolina and Virginia. But then to the south, it is all rain and showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. And we see that some from Macon southward into let's see, Montgomery, and then down towards Jacksonville. It's going to add up 1 to 2 inches just because of repeated rounds of thunderstorms this week. But Steph, it's going to be so nice and warm.
I know, especially relative to.
Quade wasn't a showstopper for Northeast airports, but there were significant delays and cancellations, particularly at Newark, Liberty, JFK, and BWI in Baltimore. All told, FlightAware shows well over 2,000 delays and cancellations at U.S. airports on Sunday. And the thing is, Steph, maybe not as many people are flying, but there's not as many seats either. So you still have trouble getting out if your flight is canceled.
You do as well. And out in the south, we want to talk about how we haven't had that Arctic
traveling out there today. Maybe you are going in or out of the Key West airport. There's some showers down here across South Florida. And actually, you're waking up to a little thunder. Look at that. It's just now moving off the coast here of Fort Lauderdale. But yes, that was thunder that you heard. Now, there's going to be a few more, I think, today as well. Maybe not there. What your forecast is going to show is just warm. Temperatures hit the 80s this afternoon. The humid dew points are in the 60s and really warm overnights too. It's obviously warm as you start today. Tonight, this evening, temperatures only dropping to like the, mid to upper 70s. Then we move up to Tampa. Let's jump up here where temperatures are in the 60s this morning. It is dry. Anyone traveling and leaving Tampa after the Super Bowl here will have mainly dry conditions. There'll be a few showers, I think mainly off to the east as we get into the afternoon and the evening rush hour home. All right, but temperatures here much more polite, if you will.
Oh my goodness.
Than up north.
A 180. I mean, it's just brutal.
100 degrees plus difference.
And I think a lot of people are going to flood to Florida now. We got the Daytona 500 coming up. Spring training is getting underway. A lot of stuff going on in Florida right now. 119 million Americans, though, getting a rude wake-up call this morning as they start.
This 20 below, maybe even 30 below at times.
Do you think it makes a difference if you're on like the sunny side of the street versus the shady side of the street?
When it's that cold, no.
Nothing. The sun does nothing for you. That's what she's saying. Nothing. All right, let's get to see the rest of the week here. We take a look at this forecast where we do have some snow showers heading east. We see that today, tomorrow into the northeast. Your next system right behind it, and all the moisture comes back by the middle of the end of the week here. The weekend looks very interesting storm-wise. Lightning is the biggest risk, I think, with these storms today. And let me show you what else, though, is coming our way this week. It's not a once and done kind of thing. I know you're waking up this morning to a little bit of thunder and lightning out there, just south and east now of Fort Lauderdale. So it's moving out over the water. But this is our forecast midweek. We've got, all this green on this map indicating where the moisture is. It's right here over the south. We don't get cold yet. We actually stay pretty warm and we stay pretty humid. So with this front that hangs out and then next area of low pressure moves along it, there's going to be a lot of active weather here. No way around it this week. We look at scattered showers all the way through the end of the week. In fact, some persistent rounds of rain I think are really going to add up. Now for now, things have dried out a little bit, but you notice how the moisture is kind of surging back in. So get ready. More rain is coming its way to Florida. We'll see some of that actually by this afternoon right across central and southern Florida. Florida. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Just look at how the moisture returns all across this area. And then it just kind of sits here because of this front in the region. So we end up with adding up in the rainfall buckets here in your rain gauges. Today and tomorrow, we'll see scattered showers right along the I-10 corridor right here. Scattered showers up across southeast Georgia into South Carolina. This moisture all lifting north. And by Wednesday and Thursday, it is a tricky forecast because we do have some cold air coming down. How far south does it get? That's another segment question that we'll talk about. But for the rest of the southeast, it is all rain, and it's going to be, I think, adding up just simply because we're going to have multiple days of it. So there's a widespread area of about an inch of rainfall, maybe even some spots getting 2 inches. Now, just a complete dichotomy, though, compared to what we're going to have to the north.
Exactly.